up. I've got the chat doc up, but that's going to be crappy. Let's see your channel. I am live. Oh, why did it? I'll have to change that out. I am live. But I don't even know if anybody's going to join today. But I might as well go over. Let me look at my notes. I did the podcast. I did a 20-minute podcast. So I went over. Let's see. I think I started with. Oh, here. Let me go in here and I am going to copy, and then we're going to sign up for the Black Friday sale. Okay. And, oh, I don't want that. Hold on. What Brown can do for you. Damn, you definitely have to work, man. Have to get me those packages. No, it's not doing it. I won't do it. Hey, I did a 20-minute podcast for you. So you got something to listen to while you're in your truck. But let me go back to my notes. The first one that I said to buy is mRNA. China's having a record number of COVID cases, and it's clear their vaccine's not working. So, and UBS, man, you can hear me, right? I haven't turned up my volume on this. Yeah, you can hear me. Okay, I tested it. But yeah, here's the caveat to this. This is Moderna, and if you have TrendSpider, you can see this more clearly than on my laptop screen. But the buy-in here on October 25th, 26th, somewhere in that neighborhood, at 136. You're at 176 right now. The RSI is trending down at 56, and you've got this MACD. We'll expand this up. That MACD is crossing down. See it clearly? So it's not crossing up. When I tell you to look at mRNA, I'm telling you from a catalyst standpoint, look at mRNA, because I think this and Pfizer are the two that will benefit if China decides, you know what, we've got so many shutdowns, we're going to allow our citizens to buy, or we're going to buy Moderna or Pfizer. It's clear that their vaccine is doing nothing. They're not necessarily shutting it down. A lot of their cases are asymptomatic. But here's Pfizer. On about the same time, a little bit earlier, but October 13th, you had a cross up here at 43.09. You're 48. I mean, that's over 10%. Hey, there's some insider info for you. Crypto man, Target's the best freaking buy, I think. If you can get Target in the 150 handle, meaning anything below 160, I think that's a bargain. I'll look at it a little bit, but let me go over my other thing. That's great, by the way. You are in a perfect position to look at that kind of stuff, because you have the ability, the single-handed ability to take a look at. I talk a lot about investing in what you know, and part of quote unquote what you know is what's in your truck. What are people buying? What are people doing? If the e-commerce side of Target is actually going up that much, shit, buy a ton of it. That's kind of what I think. But again, Pfizer and Moderna was what I talked about. I also talked about SOXL because I think I got a lot of people into SOXL based on the chart. It's kind of crossing down here and you can see the button hook. Let's let it pull up a little bit. But there was this buy. Oh, come on. The one thing that I need to buy is a new MacBook. But you can see right here, there is, and I need to remove this. That one is done, so I'm going to trash that. That'll take it off. But see right here, 927. I mean, shit. If you're in at 737, that's fantastic. But that button hook right here, and then this capitulation, and it has a secondary cross-up going on right now. My preference, like I said on the podcast, would be if you're in at 927, if you're anything below 10, take a 30% profit. Take it. Anything below 10, take your profit. And yes, it could explode up. Absolutely, it could explode up. But, again, you're half day, long weekend. Who knows what's going to go on? The RSI is at 64. Yeah. I mean, it's overbought. Inversely, the SOXS looks beaten down. Really beaten down. If I were in SOXS, I probably wouldn't sell. And the reason I wouldn't sell is because these Bollinger Bands, look at how that Bollinger Band right there, kind of coming up. They're syncing up for some reason. Now, it doesn't have any confirmation, so I wouldn't necessarily buy into this. You did have a buy-in here at $35.12. You're at $32. So it hasn't gotten you out yet because the MACD hasn't necessarily crossed down. The 9-day is still in a down. The 21's down. The golden, the death cross, meaning the 50-day under the 200, that just happened. So you're not really looking at anything that's a positive. But, again, I wouldn't necessarily sell out of this one. I wouldn't buy into it either. I would wait for Monday. Be patient. This one, your average win on this one is 20%. You win 26% of the time. So one in 4 chance you got to make 20% on average. The other thing I talked about was Tesla. And Tesla, they released their full self-driving. UPS, man. Sorry about this. But they released their full self-driving to the entire fleet. And I own a Tesla. I have full self-driving. My parents have full self-driving. If you haven't tried it, you will be scared out of your fucking mind. Wear a new pair of underwear because it is crazy bad. I don't consider it legitimate. I do consider it legitimate on the highway. It's crazy good on the highway. In fact, the entire drive up here from Atlanta to New Jersey, most of that on the highway was done on autopilot. But we have a cross up here at 183.29. The RSI has been beaten down. It is on its way up, but the cross up just happened. Between the catalyst of full self-driving being released and the stock being beaten down, I think you can buy this safely in small lots to go from 180 to 200. I think 200 is going to be, 195 might even be the cap. But I do think that you're looking at this one moving up a little bit. The catalyst for full self-driving is the reason full self-driving to the entire fleet is so important is because part of the programming of full self-driving is based on the neural network. And so when the entire fleet has it, the neural network gets more information. And as more information comes up, they can program a bigger amount in there. So it's better for everybody when that happens. The other one I brought up was ATVI, Activision Blizzard. If you are a gamer, this is the maker of Call of Duty. This is also the company that Microsoft has pronounced to buy at a price of $95. They have had a little bit of a problem getting that through. And there's a report this morning that the government will not allow the Microsoft buy to go through. The rumor was that it was going to go through in December. If it doesn't happen in December, then you could look at, there could be something bad. It could crash back down to 50. Warren Buffett is the one that brought this up. He has invested millions in this, between probably 50 and 70. He thinks it's a good bet for it to go through because you could make a lot of money, but that's him. Apple is in the news. I am not selling on this news, but they will have significantly fewer iPhone 14s available for the holiday season. It is likely, if you haven't ordered one already, you may not be able to get one, specifically the Pro and the Pro Max model. This one had a cross up here at 145. It is clearly using that 200-day as its resistance level at about 154. I don't know that I'd necessarily buy it here at 151. I think in pre-markets it's just below 150 at 149 or so. So it's 149.22 up here in the right-hand corner. I can see it. You guys can't really. But I wouldn't necessarily buy this one going into today. This MACD is kind of up there. The RSI is at 58. I think you might be going back to this, cover this this gap at some point between 135 and 140. Just a guess, but that's one that I brought up. Some of the scans that I brought up, and I did scan, was GOOG, and that is one that crossed up. Let's see what the price was. I continue to say anything under 100 here for a long-term buy. I think you could absolutely buy this one for a long-term buy. 88.55 was the cross up here. We had a secondary cross up. See how high it is right there? The RSI is at 60, so it's a little bit oversold. But again, I don't think you can time this one. I think anything over 100, under 100 is a great buy on this one. A personal one, and these came, some of the first few ones came from my personal portfolio, but DKNG, DraftKings, this one has had a great run. Now, mind you, my investment in this one, I think I'm in at 41 or 44. It's at 15, but we had a cross up here at 1474. You're trading at 1523 in the pre-market. It's a secondary cross up, and see how those Bollinger Bands are syncing up right there? It indicates that it's going for a run. You have the 50-day moving up towards that 200-day. Now, today the RSI is at 52, so it's in no man's land. The MACD is right in the middle of that. You really don't have a ton of volume that's pushing it upwards. You've had your earnings, so you don't have a catalyst. You've got the Super Bowl coming up. You've got the World Cup here. Maybe they make some type of announcement that World Cup betting is at an all-time high. You just don't know. I wouldn't buy it going into the weekend, but I'd keep an eye on this one. I think anything in the 14 handle is probably your best bet. You can see this 200-day is just providing a resistance level right now. But if you get over that at 1535 and you close over 1535 today, you're at 1522 in the pre-market, but if you close over 1535, in my mind, I think that is the catalyst to move it and keep it up over the 200-day and for a positive move. Another one that came up is the spider sector for consumer discretionary, XLY. This is a personal holding of mine. It's been beaten down. You know, it's a super boring stock to hold. It's not something that's going to make you rich. It is horrible on the full year. Let's see year to date. Let's go over to FinViz and I'll look it up. XLY. And we'll look up the year to date kind of information on it. Performance year to date is down 30%. There's nothing. It's a 1% dividend. There's nothing super exciting about it. The algorithm loses you 12%. The buying and holding loses you 10%. Your average win is 4.49. It had a cross up here at 142.56. If you're interested in getting into consumer discretionary, this might be your chance. Again, you can clearly see that about 140 is putting in a pretty decent support level. I mean, just from this small chart, and this chart goes back to April. So it's putting in that support level. You could go down, but who knows? Anybody that has the, and I'll do it for you right now, but if you have the Trend Spider, just look for a MACD cross up on your scan and go into the scan through. You go up into the right hand corner, you go scanner, you scroll down, ARC Holdings All, and just look for a MACD cross up on a 4-hour chart. So there are tons of these that crossed up in the bottom, and you can't see it, but in the bottom right-hand corner, you're seeing probably about 15 or 20 ARC holdings that crossed up. You can look at those. The one that I think is the best bet, and the one that I would say I would want to hold, buy, I should say, and hold today, would be Roblox, and that's what I titled the podcast after. And we'll take a look at this chart because it's an interesting one. Your RSI is down. You can see it here. It is down at 38. So it's in no man's land, but it's not close, not always in no man's land. You've got a MACD that is down here that's crossing up 3204. I think if you can get this with a 31 handle, it's even better, but 3204 is the cross up. You've got you're on the downside of the 9-day. You're on the downside of the 21-day. The 50-day is moving down, and it's kind of crossing under the 200-day. But if we look at kind of the last time it was in this territory at 32, this is a $29 buy right here. And this was June 21st. There wasn't a real catalyst. You were just kind of, it was after earnings, a few days after earnings, midway through. And it kind of went through. That was June to August. You had a 51% gain. You could have gotten out here. I think going into the catalyst of December, specifically the holiday season, in my mind, this one determines, again, throw 1%. 1% of your portfolio. Throw $100. Throw $200 in here. Anything to make you money. It's definitely a gamble. Here's the killer portion of this. The algorithm loses you 60%. Buying and holding loses you 50%. Now your positions are 27. You win 22% of the time, but your average win is 18.34%. So I think you could probably move this up to 34 at the very least to that 200-day. The 200-day is around 39. So that would be a 20% move. And if you're going to use that as a resistance level. Now, remember, you're buying this on weakness. It's crossing up. It's just touching that 9-day. So it's just moving a little bit up. But if I had to buy one stock today, this would be the one. And again, that's just kind of my thing is the daily stock. If I had to buy one stock today, this might be the one. Another one that was a cross up is Walgreen Boots. This is one that I would not buy today just because the run has been crazy on this one. Absolutely nuts. Just crazy. This one you had buy-in here at about October 10th, I think. Yeah. Let's see. Let's shrink that down. At about $32.99 right here. It's at 41. That's what I'm talking about with the Roblox. This is kind of what I see with Roblox. See, it didn't have a ton of confirmation. It was just kind of touching that 9-day. Now, it had a secondary cross up. You had this golden cross on November 18th. You're way up there on the MACD. Your RSI is at 69. I would not buy into this one today. I just wanted to bring it up because it had a secondary cross up, which typically means you may go for a secondary run. Duke Energy is one that I went over, talked about this one. This is just a utility company, but it's had a good run. I know I brought it up before, and I said we saw some weakness. You could probably buy this one, and because it's just a utility, you could be happy about it. This one had a buy-in here at 88. 88, 89, you're at 98. You had a secondary cross-up. You're kind of moving towards that 200-day. Probably, you can clearly see that 200-day has been a resistance level. That 200-day is right at about 101. So it's a 3% move if you want to buy it. Again, a secondary cross-up is kind of a cross-up, but since the RSI is so high, I don't know that I'd necessarily chase it. SOXL, we talked about that one. One of the reasons why it's probably Still a little bullish is because of AVGO, Broadcom, which had a cross up, a secondary cross up. This is great company. I mean, you just crossed the 200-day. You're having your golden cross right now. You crossed here at about 4:30, and you're trading at 5:30. Look at how quick that's gone. Now, the catalyst for them is their earnings are coming up December 9th. So the algorithm makes you 4% on this one. Buying and holding makes you 35%. Your average win on this is only 6.51%. You win 40% of the time. So it's a pretty good stock. It's a pretty good stock. More probably buy and hold. For D-Man, I'm sorry, for crypto, for UPS man. Crypto UPS man. By the way, are you Sam Bankman-Fried? You better not be. If you guys didn't read it, that douche is speaking at a New York Times deal book conference. He's speaking at a conference. They invited him to a freaking conference. The guy should be in jail. But here's Target. We talked about Target being a pretty good buy down here at 150. After their earnings, they went down to about 152. I said probably should be in this one. It sold out. It got you in. The algorithm got you in right before earnings at 173. I didn't buy in. I was thinking about it. I said, with Walmart's report, it's probably good. They said, hey, there's still inventory levels. I said when it dropped down here, you're probably looking at this one filling this gap. It's kind of going up there, filling this gap. The gap is at 175. I think that's where you're going. I think it's again, UPS, man, you said it. Your truck is filled with Macy's and Target. I think those two, when you look at Macy's specifically, their e-commerce business grew in their last earnings. So Target specifically, look at the RSI at 44. It's been a horrible, horrible stock this year. Walmart has been so much better. We look at Macy's. I know there was one, Michelle, who is on YouTube all the time. She bought Target, I think at 153, 150 something. I said, if I had to buy one stock today, I'd buy it. It's at 163. I think she'll do fine. She's buying and holding, so she's not doing anything crazy. But remember, I said before the Macy's earnings, buy at 21. You're at 23.44. Boom, you got your 10%. This has been a crazy good one. And yeah, Mike, Sam Bankman-Fried needs to shut up. I think it's Andrew Sorkin is actually going to be interviewing him. I hope Sorkin, holds him to the fire. But Macy's I don't own. I should have bought it. I really should have bought it. There's a lot of them that I should have bought. But I got to go visit family today. So I will probably be trading on my phone. I am going to keep it super, super short. It's 22 minutes. I did 20 minutes on the podcast, 22 minutes on this one. Covered everything. Let me just make sure I covered everything. AVGO crossed the 200-day. Again, if I had to buy one stock today, it would be Roblox. That's the title of this live. But Roblox would be one that I would buy. The chart's just too juicy not to take a chance on that one. I would have a stop loss. If I bought it at 30, I'd probably put my stop loss down at about 28. If it gets down to 28, though, I might actually just buy more. But Roblox is crazy. Look at that one. I mean, it's just crossing the 9-day. The 9-day looks like it's going to cross. The only thing that worries me about this one is that 50 days crossing under the 200-day. But, it hasn't really done that. See how it bounced off here? Kind of went down. On the last buy, this $35 one where you had a 12% gain, and you could have gotten out up here at 50. That's where I would have gotten out of. But there's my read on it. And I know I'm going to get a bunch of comments about why I didn't stay on until 9:30 and stuff like that. But like UPS, man, I got a job to do. So I'm going to change the cover art on this one because I think it's the old cover art. But if you have any questions, hit me up. hit me up on the socials. The link's down below. Anybody that has TrendSpider that hasn't been set up on the algorithm, hit me up. I will help you set it up. If you haven't signed up, the link is down below to sign up for TrendSpider. It is a phenomenal platform. You guys can do the podcast. I mean, honest to God, that's how powerful that algorithm and that program is. You can scan for yourselves. My goal is to make you find the value like I do in TrendSpider. Yeah. See, UPS, man, you got all the freaking, you got the info. Hey, how many, real quick, before you go to work and before I leave, has the Amazon packages significantly reduced in your truck? And it doesn't mean that Amazon's doing poorly, because remember, they have their own delivery service. So I think they've been using their own versus using FedEx and stuff. Mike, the Friday before a weekend, especially a half day, I don't know that I'd go to the bank. But if you got the balls to do that, kudos. SOXL is down. I'm waiting for Crypto Man's answer on UPS truck. And how many mattresses have you delivered of late? That's the worst, man. I feel so bad. It's that and the exercise bikes. Those are the worst. I feel so bad when I order that shit. I do order a 15-pound bag of dog food, which typically is a little bit difficult in a box to handle. But other than that, yeah, Roblox, man. If I were, it's funny because I was talking, I think it was, who was it? I was talking with somebody on Instagram. I think it was Corey. Let me just make sure. Let's see. And if you haven't seen it, the video with AOC and Elon Musk, it is probably the greatest video I've seen. Let's see. Jordy, I talked about. Yeah, Corey. Corey, I was talking about options with. Corey, man, play Roblox. Play the options on Roblox. I think those are worth. I don't know options, but I'd probably do it. Okay, I'm going to change the cover art on this one. I'm out of here. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for showing up. Hope you had a great Thanksgiving. Let me show. O'Leary. You know what's crazy? UPS man. What's crazy to me is Sam Bankman-Fried, and this goes to show you. I was telling friends about this. And sorry I'm so close to the freaking camera, but the camera's literally right here. When you have money, people who have money, even if you've been shown, look at Bill Ackman. Bill Ackman, who, legendary. I mean, January, he into Netflix earnings, he said, he put billions into Netflix. He got out because he lost so much. But Ackman's still a hedge fund manager. And you make money at hedge funds, even if you lose people's money, because you make 2% of whatever they give you. So say I've got $100,000. Every year you're taking, as a hedge fund manager, minimum $2,000 from me. Now, if you make, turn that 100,000 into 110,000, you're taking the 2,000, but out of the 10,000, you're taking 20%. So you're taking, out of the 10,000, you're taking 2,000. So your $110,000 actually turns into $106,000 because you're paying $4,000 in fees. So, but the people with money tend to make money from fees. And I can't believe people are pouring more money into Sam Bankman-Fried. He's a criminal. He's absolutely a criminal. Absolutely a criminal. Okay. I am out of here, fellas and ladies. Hit me up on the socials if you need anything.